So in section 4 of this chapter, we talked about how to figure out if something is proportional or not. So today we're going to look at things that are proportional. You've probably done some things like this before, but these are very straightforward in how to solve, which makes them very nice. So first, setting up a proportion. When setting up a proportion, you need to first decide what two units you are comparing. Miles to minutes, degrees to hours, whatever it is. So we want to write the units as a ratio. So example, you just traveled 150 miles in 30 minutes. At that rate, assuming you have the same speed, how many miles can you travel in 45 minutes? So we can see the two units being compared. It's miles to minutes. So the ratio we'll begin with is what they gave us, 150 miles to 30 minutes. So we start with the information we were given. This is a full set of information, how far we traveled in what amount of time. So we look at the information we have left, which is they want us to know how far we traveled in 45 minutes. So we know the amount of time for this second set. What we're searching for is how many miles can we go in that amount of time. So we're given one full set of information and then half of another set, because we're told the amount of time, 45 minutes, but we're not told the distance. We got to find out how many miles, or the distance traveled. Let me say miles traveled in 45 minutes. So this is a big thing to help you think about when you're doing problem solving in general. You want to figure out, what do I know and what am I trying to find? Then how do I get there? So what we know is what we have up here. 150 miles were traveled in 30 minutes. And over here, we want to know how many miles. So I'll just put X because we don't know what it is, but we do know the amount of time is 45 minutes. So we know fully they traveled 150 miles in 30 minutes. What we want to find out is how far did they travel in 45 minutes. So we're using the information given to help us find out a new piece of data. So when you solve to identify the missing value, you are simply solving an equation. While this may not look like an equation in the normal sense, hopefully you'll see once we work it out at the bottom that it really is just an equation. So the first step is to cross multiply. That means like multiply diagonally. So we'll do 30 times x and 150 times 45. So let's do that down here. You can see the work down here. So 30 times m is 30m, or we can use x, it doesn't matter which you use. And then 150 times 45 is 6,750. And then the second step is to divide both sides by the coefficient. So the coefficient, that's the number in front of the variable, we just divide both sides by that. And 6,750 divided by 30 is 225 miles. And if you want, you can check by cross multiplying. Here's what they mean. I'm not going to require you to check your work, but I know lots of you like to know if you're on the right track. We can go back to this, plug in 225 for m, and then cross multiply again and see if we get the same thing. So you do 30 times 225, which gives you 6,750. You do 150 times 45, and that also gives you 6,750. So since both of the multiplications give you the same answer, that means you did it correctly. So I'm going to do one more example just to make sure you understand the process. Let's do 6 over 11 equals 18 over x. So our first step is always to cross multiply. 6 times x is 6x. And let's see, 18 times 11, I believe is 198. Let's see. Yeah, 198. Good. Okay, so that's our first step, cross multiply, which means multiply diagonally. Top of this one times bottom of this one, and vice versa. Then we divide both sides by the coefficient, which is the 6, because that's the number in front of the variable. 6 goes into 98. Let's see, 18, 3, 33 times. So x is equal to 33. So just keep those steps in mind. They're given to you right here. Cross multiply, then divide both sides by the coefficient. So you remember those few steps, and you'll be all set.